we're live. Hello, Ents. We're back.
Oh, 4 minutes late.
That's okay.
It is Monday.
Happy 420 New York and everyone on the East Coast.
Special.
We light up for you.
Got some diesel in here.
Okay, so I've always wondered this question. You know how there are potholes virtually everywhere in the world, and I always wondered if you can drive fast enough, could you mitigate the damage or how much you could feel the pothole? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And
then if so, how big of a pothole and how fast can you drive?
Could you go flying over the gap so fast that you don't
that you don't feel it? Yeah. Or it doesn't affect your car. And so the great thing about YouTube
are pretty harsh on your car.
Well, maybe you haven't driven fast enough. So there's a YouTuber who put this in a computer simulation, and I thought it was really interesting because it finally answered a question that I've had for a long time. So let's take a look at that video.
How good are these computer simulations at capturing the right?
Well, you can judge for yourself. This is 2 meters, 6 feet.
Over 6 feet. At increasingly higher speeds. Okay.
So he's going to try to take these cars at over 200 miles per hour. But he's going to start testing them at normal speeds.
Is that a little Geo Metro?
It looks like a Honda Civic.
Oh.
Like one of those old. He starts them so slow, 15 miles per hour.
Is this like a GTA?
This looks like it has more car mechanics. So he's saying at 25, 35, and 50 miles per hour, all of these guys bottomed out.
Yeah, that's a giant hole. That's like bigger than the car almost.
But he says at 50 miles per hour, it doesn't bottom out as much as 25 miles per hour. He's going to take a heavier car over them. With a higher weight, we still get very similar results. That's pretty understandable. 25, 35, and 50 react very similarly, but 50 mile per hour sits a little bit better. So more speed, better. He dug a deeper hole.
Yeah.
It's 4 meters long now.
But how deep is it?
Let's see. He's going to take this car at 50 miles per hour. Takes off the whole back. See, I think this is more parts than GTA for the cars, so it seems like a better simulator for at least like these kind of things. 6 meters.
It's like a swimming pool. Volkswagen.
That looks like maybe like the WRX. Oh. Hey, it made it across.
Without losing its bumper.
It sounds like something's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
So you bent some wheels and punctured the tires.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
And broke some brakes. 8 meters, an 8-meter pothole.
That looks like a bug with the antenna there.
What kind of car is that? Oh!
All those low race
We need to go faster than 135 miles per hour. Oh, he starts a little farther back now. Oh. It made it.
Lied.
That was 8 meters at 160 miles per hour. And so now they're going to raise it to 10 meters.
Oh my goodness.
This is why I love computer simulations. You can save so much money.
Ah, 10 meters. Oh my gosh. That. Wow. He only kind of like lost the bottom part.
Yeah, you realize... Oh my god. His rear brakes must have failed.
Destroy his brakes.
Hello, Fiontan. Thank you for joining us. We're just looking over some cars that are going over potholes.
It's a slow Monday. Is there something in there?
It's just water. 12 meters. They're gonna try to drive a car over a 12-meter pothole at around.
This guy just bored and he just do that.
Well, I don't know. I appreciate it because I've always wondered this question: how fast can you drive over a pothole? And
But
how
who
big?
has a pothole that big? That's like you're trying to do a stunt. Like you
255 miles per
over.
hour. Yeah, if you
What cars can
250
go that
miles
fast?
per hour. I don't think a lot. Wow.
Yeah, it's like okay. I guess it's a big feat because you're not like on a ramp. You're not going on a ramp.
Oh my gosh. 25 meters? You need to be driving a plane.
That's like an Olympic. Oh wait, that's 50 meters. I don't think I have the. It's like swimming pool length. Yeah, what car can go that fast?
Oh.
It broke.
It blew up.
It broke the machine.
You're basically just driving into the... Wow, 276 miles per hour? That seems really fast.
It like broke the matrix. It's weird flying.
Oh, he shortened it to 20 meters.
And how fast? 276. Ugh. That's why they have ramps.
All right. Well, thank you for
man. Those cars.
thank you for humoring us. So we try to start with something light, and now we'll get to it. What's on our news today? I guess we'll talk about this Apple Backdoor.
Oh no. What?
So today, Bill Barr, the Attorney General of the United States, went and attacked Apple. And he basically what he wants to do is he wants Apple to create a backdoor so that any government agency that has a warrant to search the phone can easily access the contents in the phone.
Wasn't that what they were trying to do with the San Bernardino shooter?
Yes, in 2016, same thing happened. And so we're going to look at the video today of Bill Barr, but then we'll look at what Tim Cook said back in 2016 in response to that. But both same thing. So let's see how they're trying to attack our security now by attacking Apple.
Apple's desire to provide privacy for its customers is understandable, but not at all costs. Under our nation's long-established constitutional principles, where a court authorizes a search for evidence of a crime, an individual's privacy interest must yield to the broader public interest. There is no reason why companies like Apple cannot design their consumer products and apps to allow for court-authorized access by law enforcement while maintaining very high standards of data security. Striking this balance should not be left to corporate boardrooms. It is a decision that must be made by the American people through their representatives. Public safety and privacy are not mutually exclusive. We are confident that technology companies are capable of building secure products that protect user information and at the same time allow for law enforcement access when permitted by a judge, as Apple had done willingly for many years and others are still doing today. Many of the technology companies that advocate most loudly for warrant-proof encryption in the name of privacy rights are at the same time willing to accommodate authoritarian regimes when it serves their business interests. For example, it has been widely reported that Apple has worked with both the Communist Party of China and the Russian regime to relocate data centers to enable bulk surveillance by those governments. Apple also has reportedly disabled features and applications on iPhones used by pro-democracy advocates, thereby facilitating censorship and oppression. If technology companies like Apple are willing to oblige the demands of authoritarian regimes, they certainly have no excuse for failing to cooperate with rule-of-law nations that respect civil liberties and privacy rights and have judicial safeguards. The developments in this case demonstrate the need for a legislative solution. The truth is that we needed some luck here, in addition to the ingenuity, to get the phones this time. There's no guarantee that we can be successful in the future, or that we can avoid massive delays, in this case more than 4 months. These will have significant consequences for the American people. In addition to the cost in time and money of devising alternative methods of accessing encrypted information, it can be enormous. This is not a scalable solution. Right now across the nation, there are many phones, both at the federal and state level, that we still cannot unlock despite having court orders. As commercial encryption becomes more sophisticated, our odds of success diminish with each passing year. We cannot do our jobs when companies put the ability to defeat court-authorized searches in the hands of terrorists and predatory criminals. When combating threats to our homeland, we need American tech leaders to work with us, not against us. Over the past year, I have repeatedly asked tech companies to work with us to provide better solutions. Unfortunately, no progress has been made. For the safety and security of our citizens, we cannot afford to wait any longer.
So what he's basically saying is they're trying to get into a bunch of iPhones, but they can't because they're built with encryption. And what he wants is for the government to be able to get into these phones faster, because he's saying there's a bunch of phones at the state and federal level that they can't get in. He said something in the beginning too about how the personal security of a person can't outweigh like the public safety. And so he's trying to make encryption out to be this dangerous thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's like terrorists use it.
But it's even when they're voting to be able to access this, because they have fought even the data movers, like Verizon and them. There's been lawsuits and whatnot where they want access to the data, and they're like, we're not allowed to just give that to you. Like, what make it?
Yeah.
And the thing is, they're trying to pass stuff that would make it so that they can see.
That's a good
ours, point. But not into theirs.
Can you imagine
not into the senators or the Congress?
If Bill Barr was talking about like another company like Tesla, and he's like, The government needs to have a key to be able to get in every Tesla. Otherwise, you're going to be driving terrorists around.
Yeah,
That's,
just in case. We need to
or,
know. We need
you know,
to
it's
know.
like, I think people need to treat their digital security as well as, or take it as seriously as like their private security. It's like, imagine if every developer that was building homes were required by the government to give them a master key. So it's like when they get the warrant or arrest, they can expedite the process by just being able to go into the house. That's what
Everyone has,
that's
a
what it's
master
like.
key to
That's
all
what he's
your
asking.
locks.
Yeah, that's what he's asking Tim Cook to do. And so this happened, like you said, in 2016. There was a San Bernardino case here in California where there was a shooting, and they were trying to get into the phone. This time it was the FBI, and the FBI was asking Apple to build a backdoor. And let's look at Tim Cook's response, because it's like you can copy and paste this to today and it would still be relevant. So this was on February 16, 2016. A message to our customers. The United States government has demanded Apple take an unprecedented step which threatens the security of our customers. We oppose this order, which has implications far beyond the legal case at hand. This moment calls for public discussion, and we want our customers and people around the world, the country, to understand what is at stake. The need for encryption. Smartphones, led by Apple, have become an essential part of our lives. People use them to store an incredible amount of personal information, from our private conversations to our photos, our music, our notes, our calendars and contacts, our financial information and health data, even where we have been and where we are going. All that information needs to be protected from hackers and criminals who want to access it, steal it, and use it without our knowledge or permission. Customers expect Apple and other technology companies to do everything in our power to protect their personal information. And at Apple, we are deeply committed to safeguarding their data. Compromising the security of our personal information can ultimately put our personal safety at risk. That is why encryption has become so important to us all. For many years, we have used encryption to protect our customers' personal data because we believe it's the only way to keep their information safe. We have put the data out of our own reach because we believe the contents of your iPhone are none of our business. The threat to data security. Some would argue that building a backdoor for just one iPhone is a simple, clean-cut solution, but it ignores both the basics of digital security and the significance of what the government is demanding in this case. In today's digital world, the key to an encrypted system is a piece of information that unlocks the data, and it is only as secure as the protections around it. Once the information is known or a way to bypass the code is revealed, the encryption can be defeated by anyone with that knowledge. The government suggests that this tool can only be used once, on one phone, but that's simply not true. Once created, the technique can be used over and over again on any number of devices. In the physical world, it would be the equivalent of a master key, capable of opening hundreds of millions of locks. From restaurants and banks to stores and homes, no reasonable person would find that acceptable. The government is asking Apple to hack our own users and undermine decades of security advancements that protect our customers, including tens of millions of American citizens, from sophisticated hackers and cybercriminals. The same engineers who built strong encryption into the iPhone to protect our users would ironically be ordered to weaken those protections and make our users less safe. We can find no precedent for an American company being forced to expose its customers to a greater risk of attack. For years, cryptologists and national security experts have been warning against weakening encryption. Doing so would only hurt the well-meaning and law-abiding citizens who rely on companies like Apple to protect their data. Criminals and bad actors will still encrypt using tools that are readily available to them.
Yeah.
So just because,
It's like, okay, encryption is a protective measure for the people who are using it. And they want to remove that protective measure because of the few bad apples. And so they're going to risk everybody
It's not
else.
it's not even
It's
for.
like they're the no maskers.
So, this is the last part of it. A dangerous precedent. Rather than asking for legislative action through Congress, the FBI is proposing an unprecedented use of the All Writs Act of 1789 to justify an expansion of its authority. The government would have us remove security features and add new capabilities to the operating system, allowing a passcode to be input electronically. This would make it easier to unlock an iPhone by brute force, trying thousands or millions of combinations with the speed of a modern computer. The implications of the government demands are chilling. If the government can use the All Writs Act to make it easier to unlock your iPhone, it would have the power to reach into anyone's device to capture their data. The government could extend this breach of privacy and demand that Apple build surveillance software to intercept your messages, access your health records or financial data, track your location, or even access your phone's microphone or camera without your knowledge. Opposing this order is not something we take lightly. We feel we must speak up in the face of what we see as an overreach by the U.S. government. We are challenging the FBI's demands with the deepest respect for American democracy and a love of our country. We believe it would be in the best interest of everyone to step back and consider the implications. While we believe the FBI's intentions are good, it would be wrong for the government to force us to build a backdoor into our products. And ultimately, we fear that this demand would undermine the very freedom and liberty our government is meant to protect. Tim Cook. So yeah, that was back in 2016. If you replace FBI with Bill Barr, it's the exact
DOJ.
same argument. And so the reason why people like Apple products, I mean, one of the reasons is because they're secure.
Security.
Right. And the government isn't only asking you in this case to make it less secure for their benefit. It's going to make it less secure for everyone to get into your phone.
That's what I'm saying. If you're making a weak spot, or you're making it's like a copy paste door that you're able to, or like you said, the master key, but for what? That the chances of us being killed by terrorists compared to our chances of us being killed by police.
Yeah, it seems short-sighted.
I think we can focus our energies in other places. Got problems. Like, if they're really concerned for getting those bad guys, it's like, how about you start with the people that are killing most of your citizens?
Well, it's like they're not. It's like they're trying to paint the picture as if they're concerned about getting bad guys, but really, what they want is faster access to your data. It's like, I just want to be able to see in your phones without getting your permission. But the terrorists, China lets them do this? Or I don't know what he was arguing with China and Russia. It's like, you want to be like China and Russia?
Because they have access and they have access to all their citizens' data, don't they? I don't think Russia. Oh, I don't know.
Well,
but it's pretty crazy.
all right. Well, moving on. So it seems like things are. Oh man. Well, it seems like things are getting more angry, and we have a segment on
More angry.
coronavirus freakouts.
Oh man. 100,000 by May. By the end of May. By the end of this week.
But yeah, probably by the end of this week, we're 90,000 now. We're getting about 1,000 a day. So,
And some states have opened up.
The Rising was taking on some questions about what it would take for a populist uprising to happen.
What would be a populist uprising again?
It's like working class people like rising up together and making demands.
Revolution.
Yeah.
It's what I.
So let's take a look at how they answered.
First one is from superfan Jay Buffont. In light of what I frequently say, do you feel like due to this election and pandemic economic crisis, there will be a significant populist uprising by the next 2 election cycles or later? If yes, how do you think it will develop? What's your best guess? Hashtag Rising Qs. What do you think, Crystal?
I'm very worried that people are so beat down that they do not actually come. I mean, this is not an uprising and changing the political, like none of these things are inevitable. And the working class in this country has been so quashed for so long with a boot on their throat. I don't know. I just worry that right now there's such a sense of just like despair and apathy. Now that can change. I mean, right now we're in the throes of the crisis, and what we saw in the financial collapse and the rise of Occupy Wall Street and the populist stirrings that led to Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, like it took a while for that to develop, and that may very well be the case, but I don't think that any of that is inevitable. I think there is a deep sense of like nihilism and apathy and disgust that could just weigh people down.
I think that's really interesting what she said. So she was saying after the financial collapse and how like nothing changed, then you saw this Occupy Wall Street movements. But then it took some time for things like Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders to emerge. And so you see the politicians basically doing the same thing that happened in 2008, which was bail out the richest people and,
they're the ones that have their numbers. They're literally calling them.
Right.
It's not
and so
your representative, it's like they're calling them.
If that led to Bernie Sanders and Trump 8 years later, then what is that going to lead us 8 years from now? Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
Like how, do people get more divided as they become displaced from like the middle class into
I don't know. People are so, I feel disassociated. I'm like, wow, I'm not the only one that has, it's like they're so not reacting appropriately, I don't think, to a lot of the stuff that's going on right now, or even with the last crash, or
maybe because they don't have any options. But if there was a movement that they could join, where a bunch of working,
because they don't want to be like called crazy or end up in jail or
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's keep going with the clip.
I agree with you, and that's why none of this will happen organically. That a leader has to come in and seize the political opportunity and take your nihilism, turn it around, and say, no, we have an opportunity to actually do something. That was the great kind of political genius of people like FDR, people like JFK, people like LBJ.
I think that's a good point. I think the biggest reason why the Occupy Wall Street movement didn't really get anywhere is because there was no leadership and there was no core. Like, what were their requests, or what were their demands? Like, other than a balance of economics. Like, even I don't really remember.
Yeah, I didn't understand what the plan was or what they were asking for. What their demands were.
Like for the Hong Kong protests, for example, they don't really have. I guess their leadership is like the lawyers who are involved, and they have very specific demands. They want their 5 things.
Once it becomes a legal issue, then it's,
But that's, I guess, that's what Sagar is saying, is the only real way a populist uprising can happen is if there is a leader that is telling people what to do or what to want or what to be angry at. And that was
what to demand.
That was Bernie Sanders, like, for a little bit, and then he's kind of disappeared along with. Well, everyone's really taken a back burner to the COVID-19 crisis. Anyway, so leadership is what we need. I think that's for any.
Ran as a muck.
That's really any country that really wants to see change. Okay, let's keep going.
Is they seized upon that and productively channeled it. It can go very much the other way. I mean, look, 1930s, right? Like, we know exactly how they can go all across the world. So it's actually even more important that the leadership class recognize this opportunity. Otherwise, it's going to go exactly as you say here.
Yeah, I think that's right. The next question is kind of related, actually. How does the country recover politically, socially, economically, and financially after this pandemic, which has shown the true colors of those charged with representing the people as nothing but corporate loyalists and hypocrites? Does the country ever truly recover?
Preach, man.
And look, that has been one of the dynamics that we have charted here, is there really haven't been any heroes. I mean, you really can't point to a single figure here who has been uniquely courageous, who has really uniquely been, not only, you've had some people who have had the right ideas, and they've even been
CEO Twitter CEO.
Yeah, but what she's saying is there's no
representative.
Yeah,
lead and help
Like, what has
Figure out a
Bernie
plan for the
Sanders
workers.
done? I mean, yeah, he
For the
railed
majority
against
of
a
people.
bill for a little bit and AOC, but they didn't really like vote, or like no one can really point to any standout moments that they had during the crisis. You know,
Besides giving good speeches, but then not voting the way they
Basically.
their speech seemed
yeah,
that-
that's exactly what
for them
Crystal Ball is
to-
saying.
Able to like challenge leadership in certain specific instances, at least rhetorically. But in terms of actually galvanizing and using power and being willing to be hated and all of those things on behalf of the American people, we just haven't seen it. So look, I think both of us have said here, like, the populists at the very beginning of this crisis lost. In that first massive
Killed
bill,
like that.
when the corporate interests actually needed something and you had real leverage, what did they do? They tied it all together so that workers and small businesses were held hostage. They got their way, and now, in a sense, the path forward is already charted. Like, that direction of everything getting bigger and small businesses getting destroyed, like, that future is already ahead of us. And so it's not going to be some incremental change that's going to pull things back. It will require a dramatic, like, transformational type of structural shift in order to pull things back, even to the way that they were, let alone improve things markedly.
So that's the thing. We need to.
So Matt Bell, the guy who's asking the question, is basically asking how are we going to recover from this? And Crystal Ball is basically saying we're not, unless we see a dramatic shift, even just to get back to normal. But he's basically how we've been spending our money is just
Not sustainable.
yeah, it's just furthering the gap between the uber rich and the working class.
And the Uber drivers.
Stupid
Be
shit.
okay with the fact that things aren't going to go back to normal. I mean, who wants to go back to normal? Normal sucked. That's what was one of the main
Yeah,
points of this
normal
show
sucked
that we
for
talk
20
about all the
years.
time, which
Yeah.
is no, normal is not all fine and dandy
Right.
for millions of Americans, and
So
we know we
should
shouldn't
I
have to
say
go back to that.
normal anyways?
After a defining moment like this, every single time the country's changed, it doesn't always change for the better, and that's one of the things that I mean. This is my central disagreement with neoliberalism and all these other people who are like the arc of history bends towards. I couldn't disagree with that more.
Yeah.
History is decided by whatever the political conditions of the exact time are. And we know what they were. We live in sclerotic institutions. We have a rigged economy. We have a way that so much of this are, both of our institutions are left and right are sold out completely to whichever interest happens to be occupied by.
Don't you
And the
think
people
our
don't really have a
economy's
voice.
rigged
I don't want to go back to
because-
that. But I fear that actually that's only been strengthened as a result of this time. So the only thing you can really do is fight, because otherwise, what is the point?
But don't worry, guys. Joe Biden's going to be the next FDR, so he's got it handled.
Well, the economy's rigged because the people who have the most money to spend on legislation are spending money on legislation. And it's a vicious cycle because that's what helps them either maintain their wealth or get even richer. In this case, get a lot richer. So
They got
that's
the feds to back them up.
yeah.
They're the ones that write where you shoot that shit at.
All
Right
right.
to the hands of Congress. Well, not directly.
Well, yeah,
Corporations
because we're not going to really see any change until you see actual leadership.
should. So, oh no, maybe I shouldn't say it because I feel like maybe it gets picked up by the microphone.
What?
The questions I ask, and when my phone gives me advertisements.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want to move on to the next thing then?
Yes. What's
We are
next?
on COVID-19 freakouts. People are freaking out. Some people are freaking
But I
out.
thought everyone was allowed out now.
Yeah,
Or,
but
like,
you
at
can't
least to
you can't
some
enter some
extent.
places without a mask. And some people are very angry.
Oh, because before it was not mandatory?
Yeah,
I've
you
been
never
wearing
had.
a mask forever.
I know, but you didn't have now you can't enter a grocery store without a mask on.
Oh, Costco's been like that for a minute.
But now there are more places like that.
Oh,
So
it's part of the state.
this
Yeah.
lady's from Dana Point, which sucks because we're from Orange County as well, which is in Southern California, and so
This is why I call it the Orange County ghetto mentality.
let's take a look. This lady freaking out because she has to wear a mask.
Humbly apologize, but Yeltsin specifically is not allowing any customer or employee inside the store without a mask of some sort of kind.
Okay, so I need to talk to a manager
I
because.
will absolutely humbly go get a manager
Yeah.
for you if you'd like to hang out with me for
Awesome.
just a moment. If not, we can provide you with one.
I'm not wearing a mask.
Okay, understood. Allow me
Perfect.
just a moment and I'll
Go ahead.
reassure you.
Go ahead.
So she's asking to see a manager because this employee won't let her inside without a mask.
Hi.
He's just doing his job.
Yeah.
Hi, I have a
There's a
medical
sign outside
condition
the
that I'm
door.
not allowed to wear a mask, and I'm not required by HIPAA rules and regulations to disclose that. So, what does that look like? I have private things I want to get that maybe I don't want you to see.
But I can't let you in the store without a mask.
Okay, so where's the regular?
So this manager is being very polite. He's saying we can shop for you. We can't let you inside
Giving
in
you
without
options.
a mask.
Yeah.
And she's like, there are private things I want to get. Well, first of all, she's saying I don't need to wear a mask because of some health reason, and I don't have
She's
to
just
disclose
thinking
that.
whatever excuse to get her one way.
Well, but-
she wants to shop without a mask.
Right.
That's her one goal.
Well, I'm just trying to outline, like, she's saying she doesn't have to wear a mask because she has a health condition, and by HIPAA, she doesn't have to
and
disclose
that's
the health
bullshit.
condition.
No
Right.
doctor will say that
And
she has a
then-
health condition and wearing a mask.
And then, so he's like, okay, the manager's like, okay, that's fine. Like, well, we can shop for you. And she's like, no, I don't want you to, I have private things I
personal
need to
things. It's
shop
like-
for. It's like, okay, so let's keep going with the clip. I just want to catch people up in case they can't hear it that well, because it's hard to hear.
Oh.
regulations that state that?
The regulation?
Yeah.
That is company
Because you're
policy.
discriminating against me now. Do you know that?
I'm
You're discriminating against
that
me.
we can help you.
No, because I have private stuff that I don't want you to see.
Then you can call
It's
the
all
office,
in the
but I
store.
can't help you.
Okay, well, you guys can get a lawsuit because you can't
I'm
discriminate.
trying to help you, but I'm
No,
not
you
going to
can't. How is that? How's that helping when you're gonna do shopping for me? I'm gonna give you my bank information.
doing the best I
How
can
do
with you.
how do I do the transaction?
Transactions will do for you.
No, I'm gonna give you my credit card, my private credit card, for you to go and take and pay with my.
We're trying to help you. Best
How's
You,
For every
okay.
solution he gives, she gives a problem.
She's like,
with
you're
the
gonna
solution.
take my private credit card and go and pay. It's like, have you ever sat down in a restaurant? It's like, do you follow your server when you give them your card to make sure? You know, it's like, have you
He's
never?
the manager. His name's right there. Like,
No, but it's like giving your card to someone so they can pay for something, like a bartender. You know, it's like it happens all the time, and she has an issue this one instant.
Not only that, all that information once you pay is there. He's the manager. He goes through his till.
Yeah.
He has to go and probably like he has access to all that information.
Also, you get a
regardless.
receipt.
Yeah. I know every item you bought. I stocked this store. Like, what is? She's just making excuses for every, even her BS excuse with the mask.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say what. Give me your doctor's note, lady. Really, give me a doctor's note about because they keep saying it's bad for. I'm like, it's like the anti-vaxxers. I'm like, y'all.
Anyways, okay, let's keep
Okay.
going. There's a minute more.
helping me?
The apocalypse is on
Call
us.
corporate office. I'm sorry.
Okay, I need a card. Do you have a card for them?
I sure can.
That'd be great.
It's like, I'll get you a corporate card if that's
This
who
is
you want to
Shelley
talk
Lewis. I'm at Dana Point, Gelson's.
She's
So if anybody
as if people
who,
are gonna
agree
agree with her. I don't get
If
where their
anybody
delusion
wants
comes
to
from.
shop
That guy's my
here,
hero.
you have
This
to have a
guy, he's
mask.
so so chill.
hilarious. I
The
know.
policies.
It's like this.
I need to get him some
Which,
chill
state
pills.
That they will
Look,
shop for
the
me.
policies
My-
are
my
right
money,
there. You
My
can't-
private credit card, and
Your private credit card
utilize that.
that
I'm
you
gonna just let them go
probably-
do that. So no, I'm not. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do that.
Do you not go to restaurants, lady? Yeah.
She's like, why are you so damn happy?
It's because I don't have to be you.
I'm being grumpy
Well,
about
you're pretty,
everything.
you're pretty chipper.
It's because I got a mask on, lady.
Huh?
You should try
You're
it.
happy?
Why not be?
Why are you happy?
Normally I'm a bartender and I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
If not for Gelson's.
Oh,
Good. I
he's
mean,
so
I'm
cool.
glad you guys think it's okay to like infringe on people's rights here. You're infringing on people's rights.
You just take up too much damn space, lady.
My dear, there is no way my cards are clean.
Sorry?
I'm sorry I can't help you. But that's the number to our corporate office.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Ben.
Ben? Okay, Ben.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Ben.
So calm, Ben.
Nice. Look at that. He gives her a thumbs up.
Yeah, that's a nice.
That
message.
is-
She just made an advertisement for that store.
Dude, seriously, I'm gonna leave a 5-star review for them just for this
I'm
guy.
like, you guys handled that with nice, calm.
Both of them.
I would have like
God.
thrown something at her. And
Yeah.
I would have like sprayed her in the eye with alcohol. I'm just gonna shoot.
I would just, yeah. Okay. Anyways, so good on them. We should be celebrating these two guys, not being angry at that lady.
Yeah, keeping their chill, wasting their time while they've got other people and other things to do to go help her.
So you know what this made me realize?
Try to help her.
Okay, well, there's another video. We have another Costco. This guy's a male Karen. I guess they call him Kyle's. Let's take a look.
I was put you on my 3,000 follower Instagram feed, mostly local.
Hi everyone, I work for Costco and I'm asking this member to put on a mask because that is our company policy. So either wear the mask
And I'm not doing it because I woke up in a free country.
have a great day.
See, okay, I don't get that argument because it's like, do you not wear a seatbelt when you drive? Because you can get a ticket if you're not wearing a seatbelt, and I don't see people
what I'm
protesting
saying.
that. It's like you woke up in a free country,
by
but
law have to wear clothes.
Yeah,
Okay, it's a piece of art. It's a clothing. It's like a piece of
yeah,
article.
try
cloth.
going into a Costco without a shirt. You don't see people
No,
freaking out
tell
about
him
that.
to get naked right there. Be like, you don't want to wear anything? Fine. I dare you to strip naked right now.
Well, no, that's not the point. The point is he has
It is.
to.
It's illegal for him to do that.
No.
Illegal completely.
I know. So they're adding like one more requirement, and people
no
are
shirt, no
freaking it out.
shoes.
Yeah, no shirt,
yeah.
no shoe. They're asking like just wear a mask if you want to come in, and people are freaking out as if that's infringing on all of their freedoms as an American.
what's
But it's like
hilarious?
you participate in everything else.
What's hilarious is these people were, I bet you they're the same ones arguing that like whenever a black person gets shot for having his hoodie on, it's like, why do you have his hoodie? Why was he walking in the middle of the dark? Why was he doing this? It's like, whoa, was he not born in a free country?
I know.
Like,
All right, well, let's keep going because this guy's basically trying to take the card away from them because he's not going to let them
he
pay.
should take away the card. Be like, get
So
out.
you're gonna take
get
this car
out.
from me?
Sir, have a
Before
great
you
Full
day.
of
get
stuff.
You're no longer welcome here in our
Yeah.
warehouse. You need to leave. Thank
Now.
you very
Here,
much.
you put it on. I'll give you my card.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna take the card away because he's a pussy little bitch.
Well, he can do that. You're in his private club.
There he goes.
He's gonna protect his other
Because
Costco
I'm not
shoppers.
a fucking sheep.
Oh my god. Okay,
So did you cut in line every time because you're not a sheep? Just kidding. Sheep don't stand in line.
yeah, people
Sheep don't wear masks.
have to realize the difference between public
requires
and private
fingers.
places. Costco is a private place with like membership. They can rescind your
Oh
membership
yeah,
and
like,
kick you out.
They're not
It's
in
like
a public park.
yeah, it's like Disneyland. It's like they can kick you out if they want. Okay. So do you know what this reminds me of is that the
Everyone's just mad,
the
maybe.
people who are getting like the people who have to really enforce the mask policy, it's not like the politicians or the police. It's like retail workers.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone's getting mad at the poor managers who just like, geez, I have a job to do. We're trying to, do and they have to deal with these guys.
These guys.
It's like it's not just this Costco. It's not just this store. It's everywhere. So what are you gonna do? A little riot and.
Makes you feel bad. So here's a case where masked shoppers are ganging up on an unmasked shopper.
Whoa.
They're yelling at her to get out.
Yeah, they're like,
All of
we
these
finally got
shoppers.
to go out, but now we get to wear masks. Don't ruin it for us. Get out. It's been a month since I got to leave my apartment.
Yeah. Okay. And this
I
kind
would
of
be mad too if I was really like cooped. You know how we got a front door and we don't have communal space, but the people who had to share elevators and stuff and whatnot, they were probably staying inside. Finally, they're kind of like, because they were following the rules, and they're like, this is better now that we can get out, and now
now
these
they
guys
can-
are gonna ruin it, and now we can't even go walks and stuff anymore.
yeah. It's like, can you just respect the basic etiquette? Like for
So that the
now,
community can come out, yeah, and we can step by step get back to like whatever, like not normal.
yeah.
but at
Otherwise,
least
just get it delivered to your
functioning.
house. Don't go
Yeah,
out.
just stay
If you're gonna be a
home.
pain in the ass, just stay at home.
I was gonna say they take up too much space.
So, the healthcare workers in Belgium were getting a visit from the Belgian Prime Minister, and they.
Yeah, I saw that. What happened? Are they?
I
So
think they
mad
have
at
a lack
their
of.
prime minister.
I think they have a lack of PPE.
Oh, because they sold it all last year. But how
Yeah.
are they supposed to know a pandemic was going to happen?
Well, let's take a look at the clip. They are all. The car is pulling up, and they're all turning their backs as he drives past them.
Disrespectful. Oh my gosh! If they were in North Korea. I know. I think they cut funding probably for healthcare. Now they're all there overtime.
Well, it's like the people who are yelling at people like that they're being sheep. Like, you look at all these healthcare workers who are wearing masks, and it's like, do you know any healthcare workers? Like, can you talk to someone that is actually like working with the situation? Like, you think they're sheep as well? Like the millions of doctors.
It's like the ones that have to walk out on their jobs are ones not being provided with the masks they're demanding. Like,
right.
So and those people. So these people aren't thinking of that logic. Like, even those medical people who what they're protesting against is exact opposite. Like, they want that protection.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do they? I don't understand their thinking about why. What is? Like she said, it's. I know there's nowhere she could have read that it's really bad for her to wear a mask. Like, what?
I mean, there are places
They
online
keep
if you're in.
it's bad for them, or that they're, like, they make weird excuses. I'm like, what is wrong with just?
Yeah, they probably did read it somewhere online though. The internet's
Oh.
big. Okay, well, there's a dog park freak out that we have. You want to take a look at that?
Oh, dog parks are open? They're not even letting the children go on playgrounds, which I wouldn't even take my kids to a playground.
So this guy that works there was getting
dogs.
harassed. He was just watering the grass, and then he just starts getting harassed by these people, and these other people have to come in and help him. It's a great clip. Let's take a look. There he is. He's watering the grass, and this lady's yelling at him.
And he's watering the grass.
She's trying to grab the hose from him.
Yeah, like, why?
And she sprayed him with the hose, and he sprayed her back.
What is wrong with her? A female? So she's crazy. She might bite him and give him rabies. That girl.
They're both trying to turn off his hose
Oh my
now.
gosh, why?
I don't know. People are freaking out at dog pads. So these good Samaritans have to come and
calm them down.
well, get in between them because they're like, you attacked him. They saw it because they saw the whole thing. So they're screaming, he doesn't work here. And they're like, that's his job. Yes, he does.
We just saw you.
Yeah, so she's like, I didn't attack him. And he's like, yes, you did. We saw you. So, man. So this reminds me of like
They're just like picking fights.
Well, this reminds me of like
They're
the
like-
masked shoppers. Like these people like have to come in and help because like these other people are just so angry and harassing like these people that have nothing to do. Like they're just literally trying to work. These people are doing their jobs and everyone's going Obamagate on them.
Man.
So here's a little happy.
People need to learn to meditate and chill out. Y'all need some weed.
Here's a little happy freak out. Do you want to know how the Chick-fil-A drive-thru workers are dealing with this?
As if they're in the rain. This guy's laugh. Yeah.
It's like you're being served like from a robot in like a sci-fi, in a really cheap sci-fi show where you can clearly see there's a person inside. You're like, oh, it's what is this human-shaped robot?
Spit
No,
the people that you have to get near. It's like the glass. You
No.
can't breathe it in if it doesn't actually ever.
no, I commend Chick-fil-A. I like
Get
if
to
you're gonna stay open during this time, like it's like every place that has like a little piece of plastic set up for their like for their
That's what I'm
drive-thru
saying.
workers. I appreciate so
That's
much.
good reasoning. That's using your head.
Mhm.
Like if
With-
you can't give them masks, give them something else. At least protect. Like there's the science about how this is spreading and it being a respiratory virus is like, and washing our hands and all that stuff. But dude, they had stuff that they were ready because they had for rainy days or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, this will work." Like they used their brains to think like.
Yeah, I want to watch
That's
this one more time. It's so good.
Innovative, and we should commend those things. But I love this guy's laugh. He's just like so confused. Good job, Chick-fil-A, though.
Yeah.
That's like protecting their employees.
Yeah, if you're
I
gonna
mean,
stay
people are
open.
like, "Whoa, they're still working." What I'm like, dude, people really want food. They don't want to cook and cook and cook. They don't know how to. Just kidding.
All right, so that clip's supposed to ease us into this. So protesters are freaking out at each other. You would think they would be on the same side, but not all the time.
No, because I don't know what they're protesting.
And I second that guy that was up here. If you own a business, you should open that business right now, today. And if you don't own a business,
This is in Michigan?
you should be going to that business. If you're not hungry, you should go to that restaurant and order food just to take care of our economy.
For those who are coming here to get the media,
Man.
this is what her side wants. Don't buy on that.
Where is Capitol Police right now? I asked for them a couple minutes ago. Capitol Police. Capitol Police, please come immediately to the front. We have a plant here. Where are you?
A plant?
Police. Wait,
Well, no, yeah, they're calling for the Capitol Police because they feel like they have a plant within their protesters. But I think what it is, it's just the reason why there are so many protesters is because so many people are frustrated and they don't, they don't know what to do. But well, every day they stay closed, and there's no government assistance, right? There was like $1,200 check,
Government's all like hiding in their own homes,
right? And so
in
it's
their
like
own little bunkers.
you have to sympathize with them because they're out there because their livelihood is disappearing and they don't know what else to do. And so I think like you see that frustration even like with the people that feel like they don't have to wear masks. It's because like things have changed and they don't know how to adjust yet because there's no clear way forward. And so you see these people calling them well, no, but you see these people calling him a plant, and it's like he might not have been. It's just everyone's frustrated, and so I feel like we're going to see a lot more. Like the reason why this is a segment is because there's a lot of COVID-19 freakouts.
I know.
Oh, hey, okay, this one's hilarious. So we think of Silicon Valley as as a really sophisticated place, but it's actually very rural. There's a bunch of goats that escaped in San Jose, which is in Silicon Valley. It's so funny.
Hey, oh my gosh, that's a big herd of goats.
It's like 200 goats. Just going through where Steve Jobs used to live.
Yeah, where are they going? Or were they let out to eat stuff?
Look at the dog. This dog is so happy.
You know what I mean?
I think the gate is just broken and they all got out.
No, sometimes they get hired, like a herd like this, to go.
But someone must have been watching them.
Oh, look, there's an ATV. Someone is herding them.
Well, maybe. Do you think that's the owner?
Why else would we have an ATV out in here?
Well, it's pretty. There's a lot of rural places
my gosh,
out
they're
there.
gonna eat everyone's plants. It's like the locusts came through. And ate all your flowers.
This lady just parked. And she's like,
what? No, they're eating everyone's flowers. Well, they don't have any horns. They don't. Oh my gosh! Did they get them?
I don't know. All right, so this is another one. A rep, Steve Cohen, is the only one. He was kind of outspoken at how our government is spending its money during this time of crisis. This is definitely worth watching.
Gentleman from Tennessee is recognized for 30 seconds.
Thank you, sir. Let me tell you something that's in this bill. There's a repeal of about $100 billion tax break for the richest people in this country that Trump and McConnell snuck in CARES 1. We didn't see it at first. We found it. We put out a letter asking for support. Did we get one Republican to say, yes, I want to join you and get rid of that $100 billion tax break for 80% of the people make $1 million a year or more? Had nothing to do with coronavirus. Not a one of you. You ought to be for that. That's thievery. That's robbery. Jesse James wouldn't need a mask because if he came here, Trump and McConnell didn't have on a mask. They stole from the American people $100 billion for millionaires and
Time's
billionaires.
expired.
I yield back the balance of my.
What a guy. So that is, I hope what we can see from more of our public servants. It's like what they used to say in Silicon Valley, bunch of money flying everywhere, but none of it seems to hit us.
Yeah, there's a wall. There's a giant ceiling.
I saw this clip. I thought it was funny. I guess this was at a gay pride parade, and this really homophobic guy reacted in a really extravagant way.
Step back! I think I'm gonna vomit.
Let's watch it one more time.
Step back! I think I'm gonna vomit.
He's got a very fickle stomach.
I guess the reason why I want to show that clip is because these two thieves. Oh, it's 420. Let's celebrate really quick.
Oh my gosh!
420 in where is it? New Orleans, Mexico City, everywhere. It's 420 right now.
Some provinces in Canada.
So, oh yeah, thank you guys for the applause.
Canada's threatening to build a wall and make us pay for it.
These two thieves got caught stealing, and their punishment was being forced to kiss. One of them seems much more into it than the other.
Just get it over with. Done it.
Go on, get close.
Who did they steal from? It's just so it's like fraternity-ish.
Yeah,
Did
but
they
this
steal
is,
from a brother?
I don't know. I want to watch it one more time. This makes me happy. Do it, you little. It's so funny. This bunch of guys. Now take off your shirts. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's our show for today. We promise we will get to the Irish famine. The reason why it's taking so long is because I feel like it's the Irish famine was a mix of a natural disaster plus just a disaster of public policy that led to a human disaster. And that's why it's hard to do this story because it's so analogous to what's happening now.
Right now.
And so it's like it's kind of like a two-parter. But anyways, I promise you guys we're working on it. So thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow. Happy 420. Hopefully, you guys have weed. If you don't have buds, we're your buds. Take care.